Hello everyone, my name is Tim. I'm Senior Application Specialist at ATR Soft. It's 10 o'clock, so it's time for webinar. And in today's webinar, you will have a look at one of the new and long anticipated enhancements in CustomTools, the PDM integration. I lost my regular wingman for this session, but Product Manager Tero Salonen is here to make sure everything is okay. And he will be able to take questions during the session. I will make room after the session for more questions to let you follow the presentation better. I expect the webinar to take somewhere in the range of 25 minutes. The webinar is being recorded and will be made available online later on. Okay, let's get started. First thing first, the integration only works with SOLIDWORKS PDM Professional. This is because the programming interface, or the API, is closed in SOLIDWORKS PDM Standard Edition, and it does not allow for integration of third-party software. So to take benefit from this new enhancement, you need PDM Professional. If you have SOLIDWORKS PDM Standard, you will not see a difference coming from CustomTools 2018 or earlier versions compared to the 2019 version. The integration itself is included in all versions from CustomTools 2019 with no additional cost at all. It works without any settings applied, but we do provide some good options for the file conversion, for instance. But you will see this live in a few minutes. Issues without the integration. So with CustomTools 2018 and earlier versions, there would be some items not easily understood or even supported. One thing is the default values defined on a file card in PDM. These properties would not be populated to the file in PDM during the file add operation. It would be written during the initial check-in. We also kept file references in our own SQL database, but PDM users could easily rename, move, or even delete files from the PDM vault view, and causing CustomTools search to return incorrect results. This also influences file references in general, for instance for print convert and where used. Mind you, these issues will remain in CustomTools 2019 if you are using PDM Standard. With the new integration, we now support a number of PDM features, adding the default values without performing initial check-in, for instance. We do not keep file references for PDM files in the CustomTools database anymore, so we fully rely on references as they are known by the PDM system. We can convert files to PDM and do a bit of extra magic with these files. For instance, a PDF file would, in the past, have required a special file rule to be added to the file vault, but we overcome this limitation automatically now. We can also save and check in the converted files automatically, as well as adding properties to the converted documents. For instance, adding the description of a part file to the converted PDF or any other converted file having a file card in PDM. Furthermore, we support overwriting an existing converted file or add it as a new version. Plus, we can even add the converted document as a reference to whatever it's converted from. And then we also support using PDM sequences directly in the CustomTools interface when saving files. But there is no time to waste. Let's get visual. So I will take you into the PDM first. And here I'm going to talk a little bit about default values. So I'm going to create a new project, and I have a new project template defined for that. So the project is going to return a sequence number from PDM, and then I can type in a project name, webinar, and customer is you. And hit OK. Now, this project is going to be created in the project folder, and I can now open it, or I can access it, and I can see the data card, or the folder card in this case, has some default values assigned to it. So we are reading the default values. This is PDM strictly. If I go into this folder and create a text file, this is a default value being applied. So you can see that it's created by admin on current date. The project name is webinar and the project number is what we have here. Another way of adding default values could be if you go into the administration and find cards and open the text card, for instance. And then for the title, you want to assign a default value. So that could be default. And then when you create a document, that property would be set on the files. This was not obeyed in CustomTools 2018 and earlier versions. We do support this all now. When I say it's not supported, it means we needed to check in the file first, just to clarify that. So that was a little insight about what is the default value. So now I'm going to create a new file, actually a small project, and you will see everything work live, hopefully. So I'm going to create a new part file, and I'm going to create from a template that I have, a simple part file. This one I am going to save into my PDM vault. So I'm going to Properties, and it's going to pull a sequence directly because I set CustomTools up to automatically return a unique code for this project. So it's going to create a combination giving me the file name, all basic CustomTools tasks. And I can add a description, so it could be a simple part. For type, this would be a build component, and the material, we can use CustomTools to return the SOLIDWORKS materials. So let's just cast alloy steel for that. And we could even set a color for it as well. When I hit OK, I can save the file to my PDM vault. So going into the right project, that would be 11, and save this one. Now the file has been saved to PDM, and if I look at the data card, I will see that we have a project name called webinar and the project number, which are default values. And then we have all the property values that we added to the document as well. If I go into the properties, for demonstration purposes, I have added these two items to the list so I can see the project properties, which are being read from PDM. And I also have some PDM info like workflow, state, revision, author, and design data, and so on. So these are all supported now, these default values. Now I want to create a drawing for this one, because I want to talk a little bit about file references and how we are treating those now. So I'm going to save the drawing. And I get this error message. I'm not sure where that comes from. Maybe because I had some beta version of PDM installed, but never mind. Everything works as it should. So refresh and the file has been added to the file vault. If I go to the part file, I want to create an assembly as well. So creating an assembly. And add one more instance. When I save this one, we obviously also support everything in the floating properties panel. So I can pretty much just save it. I can give it a new name, my ASCII. And for type, it would be a build component. If I wanted to, I could override the color in here, but let's not do that. Notice that project properties and PDM info was not populated because we didn't save the file at this point. So saving that one to the right location. And now my file has been added to the file vault. If I look at my part file and want to check where used, you will notice that this file is not being used anyplace. It should be used in a drawing and it should be used in an assembly. This is because we are relying on PDM for references now. And since these files are not checked in currently, PDM really doesn't know the reference between them. So if I select the part file and I look at where used, you will see that it's not being used. Same is true for the drawing and for the assembly. So if I go to the assembly and check this one in, PDM is now going to read the structure of this assembly and understand it. So I can go back to the part file again. And this time we should get some result. So now we understand there is a drawing and there is an assembly. And this is because PDM now understands all of this as well. So I want to go ahead and release this document for production. So I'm going to change the workflow and say no approval required. At this point, you probably need some files to work downstream. It could be because you need to ship some step files to exterior vendor, or you need to do a PDF file for documentation or so on. And if I go into the print and convert, I can do this with ease. So print and convert, I don't have a print profile, so I just go to batch conversion. I want to create PDF files of my drawings. Nothing new in this. This is exactly how it's been forever in CustomTools. And then I want to create a step file as well for my part files. So when I execute this task, it is going to create the files for me in the PDM. And if I go to the vault view and refresh, you will see that I now have a step file. The step file is at version 1 out of 1. So please take note of that. If I look at the data card, there is no data card given for a step file. And the preview is going to show me what I expect, the plate with no holes in it or anything. Now, the drawing is similar. It's version 1 out of 1, and the preview is as we would expect it to be. Now, I want to do a small change. So I'm going to find the assembly. And I'm going to request a change. And then I'm going to open up a part file. And I want to check out the files. I could have done that in the previous window, but now I am where I am. So now I want to create a design change to this one. So I'm going to create a sketch, and I'm just going to offset the entities and create a cutout in it. And save that one. The drawing obviously needs to be updated, so I'm going to make sure that it is rebuilt and save that as well. And then I'm going to open the assembly and yeah, let's do a rebuild. Better check it out so I can save it. And then save the assembly and everything else. And now I can check in the assembly and every document below it. So everything should be fine. Coming back to the properties, I just wanted to show that we are tracking these PDM info. So now we know that a file is under change, it's revision A. So if I go in and change this workflow, submit for approval, I can have a look at the properties again. And it's pending approval now. And then I can obviously approve it as well. And we are then back where we probably need to create new documents for these files, the step and the PDF. So I will go into the print and convert one more time and create PDF and step file. So now if I refresh my view, I should have had the right version of PDF. Not sure why that is. But the PDF or the step file is at version 2 out of 2. But let's look into what is wrong with the PDF in a second. So this has 2 versions. That means that I can go history and I can track back whatever I did earlier, and I can then get that version of the file. So we have different versions of this step file. For the PDF, we will have to investigate that. What happens if the customer or the end user is going to move a file? So I'm going to cut this one. Create a new folder and insert it to here. So now I actively moved the file. If I go back into SOLIDWORKS and then try and find my part file, then I can do the where used again. Now the where used is going to find the correct location. It detects that we moved the drawing to this test location. So all the references that are known by PDM are the ones that we are presenting to the end user, as we should. Now I'm going to close all of these documents, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about settings. We added this new line, SOLIDWORKS PDM settings, and when you click on that, it is going to read the local vaults that you have on your PC. Now, a few of these vaults does not exist on my PC, and the reason for that is this profile was created on a different system, and then it was exported. Then I ran the import, and I got all the information and the settings related to the PDM vaults that were on that machine. Why is this a good thing? This is good if you are a reseller and you have a quick start setup for your PDM. You can create a matching CustomTools profile and set up everything to your liking and then send that to the end user. And when the end user then is going to import the profile, they will have a decision or a choice they can make. Let me show you from this one that this vault does not exist on local machine. So now I can apply the settings to whatever vault exists on my machine. So having a perfectly good setup from the beginning. If you do not need all of these additional vaults, you can simply delete them. I'm working on the default Pro. This is my default setup from SOLIDWORKS PDM. From here, I can actually disable the integration to this vault. Apart from that, I'm going to read in a bit of information. I'm going to pick up the serial numbers defined in PDM. So in this default Pro vault, there are 2 sequences defined, project number and document number. When I set a tick mark in the document number, it means that I can use that in a CustomTools session, and I will show you exactly what that means in a few minutes. So I have document number available in CustomTools. We are also going to pick up how many conversion rules are defined in our profile. So if I look at the file conversion, I can see that I have 2 conversions defined, the PDF and the step. These conversions become available inside the vault view, you could say, and we could then define some actions to go along with these. So for the PDF, I can overwrite the current version, I can check in as a new version, or I can skip if the target file already exists. I can also add a custom reference from the converted file. So if I'm converting a drawing to PDF, then they will have relationship between them. So if you find the drawing, you will also find the PDF file. Apart from that, we can do some mapping. So PDF files in PDM has a document card. Let me show you. Looking like this. And on this one, we can map attributes. So if I go the question mark and ask what is subject, this is tied to a subject variable, okay? So in this environment, I can set the description to link to PDM variable subject. The same I could do for step files, only the step file does not have a data card, so it does not make any sense. So you should create a step file card in your PDM. But then you could take a property, for instance, the description, and map that to description. And just keep on adding more and more information so you populate your model data onto the converted files. It's a very strong use, so please go ahead and use this one. Now let's have a look at using the PDM sequence. So I'm going to again use a template with some predefined geometry. And this time I'm going to create a file using a sequence that exists in the PDM. So when I open up the properties, I will pre-populate all of this information because I have some default values set from the CustomTools side, which I always set on a file and no need to set those manually all the time. But for this one, I want to change the part number. So I can click on this Get Unique Code. And this is going to return the list of available sequences that I have for this profile. And here we have the doc number, which comes from default Pro Vault. So if you see this parenthesis with a vault name, then you are returning a sequence from your vault view. And I can use that one to name my files. This is actually all I had to show for you for today. We at ATRsoft really hope that this new enhancement will make things a lot more clear for customers as well as our resellers. Our next webinar will be a Christmas special, so check out our newsletters and keep an eye out for whatever we post on our webpage. The topic and date is not yet set, but it will be 1st or 2nd Thursday of December, same time as always. I'm open for questions when the recording is stopped, but first I want to thank you for attending this webinar, and I hope to see all of you for the next one. Thank you and have a nice day.
We are in the life-saving business. We kill your routines before they kill you.